First of all, I wanted to say that our March writing contest, all the entries are due this Saturday on the 30th. Normally I do the last day of the month, but that's the last day of the month we're open, so as a result, we're doing the 30th. You have to turn it in before 5:45 p.m., purely because we close at 6. So please remember to get that in. I look forward to seeing all your entries if you are entering. Today is, we're going to be talking about weather and your novel. So weather does take a part in your novel, irregardless of if you're doing a sci-fi or a fantasy or a realistic fiction. You don't always have to go with symbolism. We're going to talk about symbolism today, but you don't have to do symbolism. Sometimes it can just be beneficial to your novel and help you in many other ways. As a result, I'm going to cover those here. So first of all, do research on the climate if you are doing a real place. Make sure that your weather that you are suggesting is probable and likely. Or even if it's unlikely and it's like, hey, this only happens once every 100 years, at least make sure it happens. For example, don't suggest that a tsunami is happening in Utah because we don't live near the ocean. The likelihood that a tsunami is going to flood Utah is very, very, very small. Possible, theoretically, I suppose, but very, very, very small. As a result, you got to make sure that your climate and everything else that you're talking about in your story is accurate. If you are doing a fantasy world, I would highly recommend looking up climates that exist in our world and then comparing them to what you want your place to be like. If you want it to be tropical, compare what their weather's like. If you want it to be a desert, you compare what their weather is like, etc. Alright, now let's dive into types of weather. Stormy. Now, obviously, if you're going the symbolism route, this can mean anger, or it can mean sadness, or it can mean turmoil, or all sorts of those kinds of things. However, you can also just use a storm in plenty of other ways in your novel. You can use it to prevent them from leaving a place, and so they're kind of stuck there. You can use the storm to hide evidence if it's a crime drama, washes the footprints away kind of thing. You can use a storm to knock out the power if a lightning bolt hits that power line and have it all go down. There are multiple ways you can use a storm to your benefit. Next, sorry, lots of ums today, I'm a little tired. You can also do bright and sunny. Again, this can be very symbolic of cheerfulness and happiness, or you can have it be the antithesis and have it be a very sad scene and have it be very bright and sunny and have it be kind of almost play on opposites. Probably have the character acknowledge that then. And then if you're doing regular weather, this can obviously be beneficial because they can go outside more, or you can show that they don't like to go outside by having it be a bright sunny day and they're not outside, or you can have a bright sunny day to help make things seem a little less dark and gloomy. If you're writing a little bit more of an intense novel, you can make it seem a little bit lighter this way. Let's see, other things that you can do. Overcast. Overcast isn't a very popular one in novels, but I think it's actually a very fascinating one that you could play with because of the fact that you still have that sunshine, but it's muted, it's gray, the world's kind of a little bit silvery sheen to it due to the clouds being in front of the sun and everything like that. So that you can do symbolism that way, or you can just have it be that more people are generally not outside because they don't get the sunshine, or you could have it be that more people are spending time outside, or you can acknowledge the fact that they get sunburned more easily because a lot of people assume if it's overcast they won't get sunburned. These are all just various things you can consider in your novel. Alright, now let's talk about hold on, I'll talk about those at the end. Hold on, let me move those to the end of my talk. I'm tired. Alright, you can also do humidity. Humidity, even though it's technically not considered weather, is a part of your climate and is something that you should mention. It's going to change things like whether or not your hair is curly. It's going to change things like whether or not your skin is dry. It's going to change all sorts of things, whether it's humid or dry. Some people describe humidity as suffocating, other people describe it as comforting. So really it just depends on how you feel about humidity and dryness and how you want your character to feel about it. Are they used to dryness and so humidity feels weird, or are they used to humidity and dryness feels weird? These can actually be great ways to describe and elevate your character's description of their surroundings. You can also have it snowing. Again, like the storming one, it's very similar in the regard that it can hide footprints, it can bury things and cover things, it can prevent people from going anywhere, so getting locked in kind of due to blizzard conditions and things like that. It can also make the roads icy, so if you wanted to have like a car crash and everyone thinks it's an accident, but it wasn't, but they think it's an accident because it was icy and snowing, that can be very much a way to do that. In general, cold can be a great way to, for a symbolism, have very like dismal, gray, kind of sad almost atmosphere if it's just cold and like frigidly cold. If it's snowing though, it can be very cheerful and light and fluffy and very nice and childish almost. It depends on how you want to view it. Now we're going to talk about more drastic weather conditions. For example, hurricanes. Again, check whether or not hurricanes can happen in the area in which your story is taking place. Whether it's fantasy or otherwise, you'll probably want to check and see, hey, based on my continent that I have created, would it be likely that this would happen or not? So with a hurricane, you can use this to create a tense situation or to exacerbate a problem, or it can be your main problem, or you can use it to separate two characters, or you can use it to create tension, all sorts of things. Similar idea, tornadoes. You can use it to create calamity and problems, or you can use it to bring a community together after the event happens. Then we also have a tsunami. With a tsunami, you're going to have a lot more, water and problems and dealing with various, sorry, I'm tired. Dealing with various issues regarding water and flooding and all sorts of those kinds of problems. And even flooding can be something that you can mention in your things. Well, flooding, avalanches, these are all things that you can use in your novel to amp things up. Think about where your characters are and think about, hey, I need a little bit more spice here or a little bit more like action. You can spice it up by using natural things, and that can feel very natural. I would say though, don't force it. If your plot doesn't feel right for it, don't force it, but it's very much a great way to create false tension even if there's something else going on. For example, if two people are locked in because of a hurricane, then they might have the opportunity to bond more. Even if they're strangers, they might get the opportunity to know each other better because they're stuck together during this hurricane. Or they might get the opportunity to, like I said, rise up and build the community together after a tornado, and so they meet more people, or get outside of their house more, and before they were kind of a recluse, who knows? There are all sorts of different ways you can apply weather to your novel and help it to amplify what you are doing and how things are going to work with your novel. If there are any types of weather I missed, please let me know. I kind of went over what I thought was all the basics. I mean, I didn't cover hail, but hail's pretty obvious. It's similar to snow, but just harder and obviously worse. So in that regard, it's got a very similar description to it and very similar problems. Overall, I think that's all I wanted to cover for today. It's a much shorter lesson than normal, but that's mainly because of the fact that I feel this topic is one that is necessary to cover, to help give you ideas and to help you brainstorm, but also it doesn't need to be excessively covered. This is just to help you get ideas as to how to spark more action into your novel or more symbolism into your novel, depending on what you're trying to go for. I wish you luck with whichever route you're going, symbolism or just brainstorming, trying to figure out how to get things to improve in your novel. If you ever have any questions or are hoping to brainstorm with me, please feel free to comment below and mention, hey, I have this question, or hey, I would like you to answer this in another video, or I was curious about this type of weather and what you think of it, adding it to your novel or not. One thing I will say, if you're going to do magical storms, make sure that you come up with the side effects, because just like these weather conditions, there are always side effects. So what are the side effects of your magical storm? So that might be something that you want to take into account. I had just thought of that with fantasy. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you're able to enter into the contest. I look forward to reading all your entries.